And I got to tell you how this happened for tonight. Something John did to me. And some of you may have seen this email. I sent an email out to the group just a few weeks ago when we did a camping trip up to Amicalola Falls. And I was going to do a lot with my station at Amicalola Falls. And I had everything packed up and ready to go, got everything loaded in the truck, got halfway up there and realized I had antennas, I had coaxes, I had enough wire to build an antenna if I wanted to play with that, all kinds of toys, everything except this box. But you know what? I made some contacts on HF that weekend. And I don't know if I'm going to get into this because we got several stations to talk about. But I actually did a remote connection back to my home, and I got my home shack turned on, and I used Skype to talk to my home shack and to hear the audio, and I was actually making connections. So I had a remote station even with no radio. So,
wow, that's innovative.
So what we're going to do tonight, we got 4 up here. I appreciate the people who brought them. If you don't have a portable station up here, but you have one, raise your hand. Who's got a portable station? So not me more. So we got these 4 up here. Everything that's up here was designed by somebody different with different purposes and different goals. So we're going to each talk a little about what our goals were, what we were trying to do, how we did it, and what we did wrong, what we did right. So I'll go first, Rick, and then Rick's going to talk about his. Mine I've had for, I guess, a year or so now. My goal was to have a station that I could carry with me when we went camping in our travel trailer or carry to the beach. We've done some trips to a beach down in Southwest Florida, and I've had this thing under a tent sitting just a few feet from the surf, and just, it's fun. I don't know. So, when I do that, I always end up with all of these parts in different bags. I got to get everything to the operating location, then get everything connected right. Then it starts raining, so I disconnect everything and throw it in a bag to take it back in. So my goal was to have a station that was completely assembled as much as possible. I don't have to do anything to it. I plug power in, I plug an antenna in, plug the computer in. My computer's separate, but I've got everything set up and ready to go. What else? I've got my notes. I brought some copies of this, and on here is a link to the website where I got the idea for the case that I used. I like this case because I've got everything rack mounted in it. I've got some extra space in there. If I wanted to put anything else, I could actually raise that up, and I've got some good space in it. It also, one of the things I like about it is it's kind of small. I fill every available inch of space with something that weighs too much. So if I had a bigger bag, I wouldn't be able to carry it because I'd have so much stuff in there. So this gives me everything I need and kind of limits what I've got.
I was just wondering how that works with how's ventilation.
Well, and that's. So far, everything has worked fine. I mean, I've had it out in 100-degree heat on the beach in July. It works good. One of the things that I really liked when I started looking at these things is the ones that have the cover over the front and everything is nicely etched out on both the front and the back. I kind of like this though because it is open for ventilation. I can get airflow through it. So.
Is your back open?
The back is open.
Very good.
I walk out, I flip the back cover off, I flip the front cover off, I connect the antenna and power, and I'm ready to go. Done.
What's the power out?
The FT857 is 100 watts. I don't know if you can see it out there anymore. I've got the Eagle One antenna sitting outside the building, so I'm connected up and ready to operate.
Dan, could you just kind of summarize the components that you've got in there?
Okay.
That's why my hand was in the air too.
Yeah.
So you can actually see it if I just put these mic clips in here and I don't like them.
Yeah, they're a pain in the butt.
Yeah. So PowerWorks power supply What, I don't remember what size that thing is.
30 amp.
25 or 30.
Yeah, yeah, with power poles on it. Everything in here is connected with power poles. If you look at the back of it, I've got a little power pole bus back there, so that everything in it is connected to power poles. If I wanted to go with batteries, I don't have batteries for it, but if I wanted to switch to batteries, if I've got a cable with power poles, unplug this on the back, plug the batteries into the power pole, and I'm up and running.
Question, Dan, would your case accommodate a sizable battery?
No.
No, okay, so
No,
you have to
and
have
some
to
of
be
the,
external.
some of the things that I've read, people I've seen bigger cases with batteries in them.
Yeah, it's too-
But I've
too
also
heavy.
seen recommendations that you don't put the batteries in, you keep them separate for weight.
Makes sense.
Um,
Okay.
So if I did that, I would have them separately. The first time I operated with this thing, I actually had a booster battery that, you know, for a car, we used to use jumper cables when I was a kid, but this thing that you connect to the car battery and start it up.
Yeah.
I've got one of those things that's got a cigarette lighter plug on the front. So I had a cable cigarette lighter plug,
Oh,
power
perfect,
pole.
perfect.
Sit it on the ground. I was not transmitting a lot, but I was listening, I was playing around, I did some wind mower a little bit, but I ran for a week without recharging that battery, operating from the V. So, so what else is in here? Power supply, I've got a TNC. It's not connected, it could connect to either of those radios. The cables are connected to it, so I can move it around. The AT100 Pro 2 Auto Tuner. I've got the 200 at home, and I think the difference in the 200 and 100 is the power that it can handle. Right? Is that right?
That's for
That's
HF?
correct.
Yeah, for
Also
HF.
handles 50 watts on 50
Right.
50 watts on VHF.
This one's smaller. It fits in the box better. I've got Signal Link. Cables are connected to the back, and I can connect them to either one of these. The meter is in line with everything. The meter is connected to the radio and stays connected, so it's always there.
That's your SWR meter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I've got this radio, the FT857 will do VHF, but I've also got the FT8800 in here. I use this radio a lot for crossband. So both of those in there I can do. I don't know. I would tend to connect that one to TNC for digital. What else is there to say about it?
Dumb question, TNC is what now? I'm sorry.
Terminal node controller.
Thank you.
What he said. Brian.
So I'm wondering how you mounted everything. Are you using the holes that are already in the radios?
This case, one of the things I liked about this case, and I forgot what it is, it's an SKD case. I'm gonna jump in this other direction for a second. Gator makes a case like this one. I saw a long discussion the other day about whether the SKB case or the Gator is better. The Gator case is lighter than this one, but these cases come with rails built in, so it's a 19-inch rack, and
Oh,
I've
read my
got two
mind.
shelves in it.
Standard 19-inch rack.
Right. So I've got two shelves in it. Now I just changed the way I had it configured. I had this shelf flipped upside down and mounted all the way up at the top. So this radio was hanging off the bottom of that shelf.
Ah,
And then everything else that I had up there, I don't remember what all was up there. The tuner and the Signal Link, I think, I used the double-sided tape stuff, the real thick stuff, to mount that stuff to the top of it. I didn't like, the great thing about that is that it gives you more room in here. I actually measured it. I could put an IC7300 in here if I wanted to invest in another 7300 if I got the shelf flipped over. So it gives me a little more room. I just flipped it over, and now I've got 2-inch strips of Velcro, several of them, all the way across that case. The radios are mounted or bolted to the shelf, but everything else is just Velcroed down so I can pull it out. And so far, it seems pretty stable.
very cool.
So,
Looks good.
that's my idea for how to do it. Rick?
For those of you that don't know me real well, my wife and I are avid national park campers. We like to travel the country and visit our national parks all across the U.S. We have done all the national parks on the East Coast, and we have done most of the southern U.S. and western U.S. While traveling or even local camping, I always wanted to be able to use my radio, since my buddy over here got me involved in this. So, this is much easier than what I do, because I pack and unpack mine, but this travels inside my fifth wheel. And if you pull in a trailer, if you've ever pulled one and you've got to slam on your brakes, it's going flying. No matter where it's at, some things go flying, unless you got them really tied down. So I packed everything that I need in here. The only thing that's not in here is I have solar power. I have 3 batteries. I could operate for months without electricity. Okay?
Not the last 2 months.
But yeah, I could have operated because, well, when you go to a national park, one, there's no power. 99% of them do not have electrical hookup. So you have to generate your own power either with a generator, solar, or battery. One of the 3. So this is why I did this, because we don't have power, and then I've got solar panels on the top of my fifth wheel. I've got extra batteries I carry inside the fifth wheel. I don't carry them in this box. They're too heavy. But in this box is everything that, I'm not going to unpack everything, guys. I use a G5 RV antenna, which is right there. One thing that's always got to be in the box, and that's this. Most important part.
Left-handed adjustable metric wrench.
Right, left-handed adjustable metric wrench, because in order to get that antenna up in the trees, you got to have some way of getting it there, and I don't have a potato shooter. I got a thrower. Most important thing, I keep a laptop in here. It's the only time I use it is for this purpose. I'll pull it out, like if we're going to go camping, I will pull out the laptop. I keep all the cables. All the cables are bagged and marked what they're for. It's real simple. And guys, this is a $49.95 bag from Joann Fabrics. This is designed as a scrapbook bag. But I keep the laptop in here. Everything is really wrapped good, guys. I mean, I pack it tight.
So when's the rabbit coming out?
Ain't no rabbit.
More interested in the radio.
Rabbit ear.
Radio.
Power supply. Yeah, oh, what radio? Yeah, why did you tell me to bring the radio? No, I brought the radio. I brought the radio. It's the last thing to come out. It sits on the bottom. It's an FT900. I don't need a tuner, because the tuner's inside. Great radio. Great radio. Actually, the tuner in it outdoes my 1200s tuner.
So how's the fifth wheel behave with the bubble wrap?
Oh, it behaves pretty good. I ain't broke nothing yet.
Rick,
Yes,
wanted to ask you, do you have a little air compressor?
yes, I do.
I will give you a 24-volt valve for your launcher. How about that? I found one at the flea market here the other day.
Did you?
Took it home and I got it working. And
Yeah, I think Chuck and I drove. Didn't you go with me when I went and bought this? Yeah. We drove clear across town for this $35 power pack. I mean, I didn't believe how far we drove to get this for
$50 worth of
$35.
gas.
Of course, it's a 90.
Yeah, we spent
it's a $100.
$35 in gas.
It's a $100 power pack. Yeah,
They have-
it's a lot of fun getting there.
there is one that Amazon has that's, I think it's 25 amps for $19 and something.
Wow.
Wow.
And Bob, WD4PAQ Bob bought one of them, and he loves it. He was about to buy another one.
I mean, the only thing bad about this is what you see. I've got to unpack it and pack it every time I want to, you know. But it's usually underneath my awning when we're camping. Or it's inside the trailer on the table.
Right.
Okay?
It is, but
Depending on who's with us. If Chuck's camping with us, or there's a group of us, then I put it outside on the table. That way we can sit out there and play with the radios. If I'm by myself, if it's just me and my wife, then it's in on the table. I just run the antenna cable through the window and hook up inside. That's basically mine.
Case about the site had wheels on it, so wore the wheels off. But I got a complete station in here, everything except the coax and the computer.
you got an antenna for it now, right?
I got an antenna for that, too. I don't know
Hey,
what
borrowed
model it is. Anyway, I have an IC 7100, Icon 7100. This is not only HF, but HF as well. Control head, got all the cables, microphone, everything in bags. That's where he got the idea. Only I label my bags too.
The mine are labeled.
Oh, okay. But anyway, I got
That way Helen doesn't use them for something else.
that's right. Doesn't put her shoes on. But we do a lot of camping as well. Rick and I have been camping together for several years. And he's always watched me set up on the picnic table outside the RV. Or I got it set up on the dash if the weather's inclement. And I got a 35 amp power supply here, the Samex. And I have the LDG Pro 2 tuner. The 7100 does not have a tuner built in. Plus I have the cable to hook it up to M3 FJP logging and cat control and all that good stuff. Let's see what else I got. This side here's got all the power cables for everything, and I usually have my G5 RV stuffed in here.
Is that an HF tuner or is it?
HF tuner, it'll go to 6 feet or so.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, everything's in here, except for the computer today. I usually have a very small Asus or an Acer one of the little microcomputers that I use for logging, or sometimes I take a IBM laptop, depending what's working that day. You know? And this thing actually folds up nicely in a plastic bag like I gave Ron, and fits in here real nice. I'll let you put that back.
I opened the case back up to remind myself. There was something missing out of
Missing.
He was gonna let you go home with it. But anyway, it's a nice thing. It's a grab and go, just like these two. Yes, John.
I just wanted to make a comment that last year, Chuck, myself, Rick, gave a short presentation to the Hiram City Council. And they were very impressed with the fact that he had a whole broadcasting station right there in a small suitcase.
$25. Because I couldn't afford 100 and something. Okay, all I did was take a piece of pine board and screw the bracket for the radio onto it, snap the radio in there. The Velcro strip holds the power supply down, so it's interchangeable. This comes with 4 dividers in it. I took the dividers out. I put this divider over here, lay it in there. This whole thing slides down inside. And then the lid closes. What this is, it's a VHF UHF radio. It's a Yaesu FT8800. It's dual band, dual receive, and it does crossband. That's why I take it. Down this little compartment here, I have a zoom spot for D-Star. As long as I got my cell phone working and internet's up, I got D-Star.
Doesn't work with my little flip phone.
No, that's my HP right here. So I got D-Star and analog, 2 meters and 440. I have a connector in here. I got the microphone for the radio connector. I can also put in a signaling, so I can run packet on the radio if I want to. Or when I carry a computer with me, and that has FL Digi on it, I can do digital through that to a repeater, whatever I want to do it that way. I have another board at home. I simply unscrew this bracket, and I've got a ICOM 7000 on there. 7000 is equivalent to Dan's 857. All band, all mode, 2 meters VHF, 6 meters through 160. It does AM, FM, sideband, okay, and FM. And that's pretty much it. This is lightweight, easy to carry. I think what I'm going to do is get another case just like it. I'll permanently mount the 7000 into that case. I'll have 2 small lightweight cases to carry. I have a gel cell battery that I've had for almost 12 years now. After 24 hours of operation with that battery, it drops down from 12.2 volts to 11.7. It's a gel cell. And the blue top battery, Dave, you're familiar with that. And it's a very good battery. It holds power very, very well. And it runs the radios for about 2 or 3 days. Continuous on time. 72 hours straight. Yes, John?
An automotive size battery?
Yes, automotive size battery. Yeah, it's a big one. It weighs about 45, 50 pounds. And I've got a connector on there that I can attach these little Anderson poles to. And then I connect the cigarette lighter plug and plug it right in. I'm good to go. The battery's got 3 outlets on it for that. So I can plug in this box here, and I can plug in the 7000 and run all the radios at one time with it. Okay. This is a 30 amp power supply here. The digital readout. This is the very same power supply Dan's got, except I paid the extra $10 or whatever it was to get the digital readout. Yeah. Doesn't make it any better. Okay. Just fancy, okay?
No, it's.
That's all. And that's pretty much it. So $25 of the equipment I already had. And a scrap board. And the whole thing was about maybe 25 pounds total, if that much. So it's like we need. And like I say, if I get another case, another board with a 7000 on it, I got 2 lightweight cases I can carry. I've got all bands, all modes I can do, including D-Star.
Will you have another power supply in the HF radio box?
No, I wouldn't need to.
If you
I can put the battery
both off
between
of
them.
that.
Yeah, I can put the battery between the 2 cases,
Yeah.
run them both. And the same thing with the power supply. If I have power available, I can run everything off of that one power supply, which works out real well. So, and this is watertight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to test it out by bearing it down.
Don't let Dan use it.
Well, you're still waiting on my antenna. Yes, John.
Well, I just wanted to comment, especially for some of the newer people. Any of you that are interested in getting involved with ARES, Amateur Emergency Radio Service, if Mr. Tornado is coming down the street, or the dam bursts and we are having a flood, we want to be able to grab, even if you have minutes, to get prepared. This is phenomenal. You have one case to pick up and out the door.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that.
Because
I
if
don't.
you're gonna try and go through your shack and grab your mic here, and grab this, and grab that, you're gonna miss something. Like the radio.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
Anyway, if you're interested in any of this avenue, or even for recreational, like what Dan does, and Rick, this is the way to go.
I just had a thought, Dave, you may have heard some about this since I have, but, the county is putting not an HF rig, but an ICOM 5100, I believe is what we spec, in the county's new emergency operations center. They're buying one for the EOC. One of us has to be there to operate it. They can't operate it. It's going in a case exactly like this, and it's gonna be locked.
What radio is that?
The ICOM,
5100.
5100.
It's a D-Star radio.
It's a D-Star. D-Star,
right, it's
Yeah.
not HF.
okay,
It's
gotcha.
2 meter 440 D-Star. But they're putting it in a case like this. They're gonna have everything mounted in a case. It's gonna be sitting in a place where it's secure. If we're there on site and they need us to operate, we bring it out, plug it in, and we're ready to go.
Dan, how much power is that HF radio? 100 watts.
100 watts.
100 watts.
That's 100 watts?
Yeah.
There's
That's the
only a couple
upgrade.
of manufacturers still making.
Hey, Dave, that's the upgraded version of my FT100.
Yeah.
Huh.
And Ron has a 957, right?
I've got the 857.
857.
It's just a little bit bigger than that, and it has,
This is the
you can buy
857.
batteries to put into it, and it reduces its power down to 20 watts now, but it's totally portable that way.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could